Good morning, it's September 28th. As you can see, the sun is shining. We actually might try to do some black beans today. So right now my job is to desiccate some of our other edible beans to get them ready for harvest. In my last video I said we did our black beans, and that's why we have some beans ready to harvest, because we did that last week and we got some really nice warm weather that expedited the process and they're ready to go. So with the white beans or navy beans that we have, I gotta desiccate them and get them ready to go. Usually it takes about 7 days after spraying them to have them at a point where we can harvest. The way the weather forecast looks, it's kind of catchy. It's like not massive amounts of rain, but they're just kind of calling for a chance. I wouldn't say every day, but it looks like it, and just small, like 40, 50, 60% chance of rain, about like 1 to 2 mils, so more of a pain in the butt than anything else. So hopefully we can dodge some of those. Today they're calling for rain this afternoon, so I'm really hoping that it doesn't and that we can do some black beans. They're talking for a pretty good chance on Friday, so that's kind of why we would like to get the 68 acres of black beans off and get wheat planted. And then we could actually say we have wheat planted in September, because that might be the only stuff we get planted for a little bit after rain on Friday. So anyways, that's the scoop. I'm just going to load up the sprayer with the chemical for desiccation and get that done. Going to grab the chemical here, some Aragon and Merge. Aragon is the chemical that does the desiccation. Merge is what we call a surfactant. And basically what it does is it assists the way the chemical disperses across the leaf tissue and maybe helps get the chemical inside the leaf, but it's like a spreading agent where when the droplet hits the plant leaf, it can kind of distribute itself a little bit better instead of staying like a bubble on top of the leaf. So gonna load up the sprayer and give her a go. Got the desiccation done on the white bean field. Got 62 acres sprayed, still have 86 to spray, but we got gale force winds. Well, I wouldn't say gale force, but a little too windy to do some desiccation. I'm gonna service up the combine and get it ready for edible beans. Just greasing the flex draper. I don't know if I talked about it or not, but we do have a MacDon flex draper. It's a newer version. It's an FD 130, so 30-foot flex draper. I've been very happy. We had one before that worked really well, so we upgraded this winter time because the other one was getting pretty wore out and was going to cost a lot to get it back into shape again. So we decided to flip into a new one that will last me a fairly long time now. So we're good that way. Like all good pieces of equipment, they have a good grease fitting guide here that gives you the intervals of how often you should grease it. We've done about 50 hours of work with this draper head, so we're doing a 50-hour greasing on it. We can usually get through a season by only putting about 100 hours on it, so we kind of do a big grease at the start of the year and then do one after wheat for the 50 hours. Then we're good, and then we do it again next year before we start. So very helpful. The other thing we got to do on the combine, when I went to Brett's on the weekend and did some soybeans, the feeder house was too flat, so I had to pitch the draper head all the way forward, and I couldn't see the knife very well. And the reason why this is flat is we have to roll it flat for corn. The way our corn header works, it's a lot better if the feeder house kind of runs flatter. So what we got to do here, there's like a whole bunch of bolts right here that we got to loosen off, and it drops this part of the feeder house forward and tips. So I'm going to do that right now, and then that's ready to go for doing edibles. Okay, so I got 7 bolts loosened off on both sides of the feeder house, and now I'm kind of hoping that with the forklift forks, I'm just going to lightly push in on the bottom down here, and what that's going to do is force that bottom in and the top out, which gives me that tip I want. And I'll just watch these slots here to see how far I go. I want to be roughly kind of halfway in this gap, so let's cross our fingers and see if it works. Well, you can see by the gap here, I went too far. So I'm gonna have to bring the forklift back in and just lift it up a little bit to try to get this back towards the front a little bit more. And yeah, just a little too far. Looks like we got it that time. We're in a good spot here, so I'll tighten them up and we're good to go. Well, I'm just gonna hop in the combine. I thought I'd check the radar. They got rain for 3 o'clock. It's 2:16. They're not calling for a lot. I don't know if we're gonna get any. I got the draper head to the field. I was gonna hop in the combine and go. And now I'm humming and hawing what I should do. So, I don't know. That's the hard part of it is sometimes is that you never know what to do. I think I might try them. Sandy's gonna bring a wagon to the field so we can at least put what we combine into a wagon and tarp it if it does rain before we get back with doing a moisture sample in town. So I think maybe we'll just try it. Well, just did our first pass up the field. Just did a small 2 acres, not quite, 1 3/4 of an acre, and just gonna run a sample in. Just want to empty out the combine, as I said, in case it rains. We'll roll the tarp here and we'll go see what the moisture is, and that will let us know if we keep going. Here's what the sample looks like. Few splits. But overall, I would say it's pretty good. Yeah, I'll go in the office. So we just stopped by to get the moisture checked. 18.8. They would like it at 18. I think we could probably maybe squeak one load in at over 18, but that'd be about it. So we're gonna go home and try it on our tester and see what it comes up as, and then that kind of be a reference point for us so we can test it later. It looks like the rain slid south of us, and I think based on the radar we're clear now, so we might just give it an hour and maybe try again at 4 o'clock and just see what it looks like. But she said they're pretty beans. So that's a good start. It's pretty windy out, but which is good. It helps dry the beans. So there's some along the outside there. This is the stuff that I've harvested already, and it's doing a nice job clipping. I'll show you here a second. I wanted to see what the if there's any loss or what the header loss might look like, but I'm really happy with these. I've had a lot of troubles before with edible beans, clipping them and not getting them and losing a whole bunch, the header loss. But here's a pass I just came up before we went to test again. So as you can see, they're pretty upright, which is making them really nice to clip. And this field was strip tilled. I wanted to watch one of the videos I'll see if I can find the video and put a card in this one. But first time strip till and edibles, and I'm really happy. Kind of this time of year is when you it's your report card, and so far I think we're doing okay. So anyways, we'll hop up in the beast and get going. Well, the moisture is down to 17.7, so we're rocking and rolling. It's going really well. It's clipping nice. I think I got the sample about as good as I can get. One thing you got to watch for in edibles and in IP soybeans are splits. So the bean sometimes will split into half, and we don't want that. And it's really hard with black beans because of their dark color. When you split them open, they're actually white inside. And when I look at my tank, I see all this little flecks of white. So I'm getting kind of nervous. I have too many splits, but I don't think it's any different than any other time. I think the issue really is just that there's a color difference between white beans and black beans, and that's why I can see the splits a little bit more. I'll show you the window here. I don't know if you can see that very well or not. So the sample looks pretty good. They're still happy with it at the mill, and I'm just going to pick away here. I'm hoping to get 30 acres off tonight. I think we will. This new MacDon draper head, it's got more fingers on the reel, and it's really nice because it's really helping feed the crop in, and it's clipping really nice. I haven't had beans clip this nice edibles in a long time, so I don't know if it's variety or the black beans or whatever. But the other nice thing about black beans is that you can't see them on the ground. So it's a little harder to check header loss, but they do show up a little bit, and we're not getting too much. So it's hard with the short beans like this. It's probably similar to those who harvest like lentils or chickpeas or peas, that you can get into some header loss. So overall, I'm pretty happy with how it's going, and the yield, I don't know yet. We'll see what the yield does. My guess, it's actually pretty respectable. We kind of always go yield based on 100-pound bags per acre. Yeah, we do things a little different, but when you kind of talk of yield in pounds per acre, we kind of hope to get, I'm hoping to get this year 2,400-pound bags, or 2,400 pounds per acre. That would be, I think, a pretty good crop. That's cleaned. Sometimes you might get like 25 bags or 26 bags, but by the time you put them through the cleaner, you get paid on clean beans, so you might get 24. So I'm hoping for 24 clean. Anything above that is thumbs up, and we'll see about getting as much off here as we can. It's the next day. We quit combine at 9 o'clock last night. It just went in one round or one pass up the field. It went from being okay to not okay. So we quit. I took the first load into town this morning, came back, sprayed a tank. I burned down on the white beans, the last field I have to do. And I still got a tank to spray, but the wind picked up too much that we can't do it. So just got the bear seeder out for Sandy. She's going to clean out the cover crop in it, and we'll get that ready to plant some winter wheat. And I'm going to haul another load into town. That moisture on the last set of wagons that we did last night was 16.6, so getting a little bit on the dry side. All is good. So I'm going to hook up another set of wagons to my green Chariot and head to Broad Grain, where we got the black beans contracted. I can do a round trip in an hour and 15 minutes, so that's pretty good. So here I go. So day 2 of black beans, I got a co-pilot. Say hello.
Hello.
And just got, not many acres left, 13 or 14. And I think they're even drier than yesterday. The loads I took in were like 16.4 was the lowest. So the one I was worried about was 17 and the limit's 18, so we're all good. So we're gonna try to get these wrapped up today and hopefully start at wheat tonight, planting this field, and we also have to clean up the combine so we can do Brett's soybeans tomorrow, as many as we can before the rain and what's ready, so he can plant wheat. And then I think we'll have to see what happens, because the forecast has, I don't know, 15 mils of rain in it or something like that, so just keep picking away at it. Just got back from the black bean field, got them finished up, and they did they did fairly well actually. I figured they're about, I don't know, 42 to 44 bushels the acre. I think if you were to go by bags per acre, that's 26 bags or 2,600 pounds per acre, so that's really good. So happy about that. We're just getting the combine cleaned up for Brett's soybeans tomorrow. So with that, I think I'll wrap up this video on black bean harvest, and looks like we're in for a wet weekend, so we'll see you next week, I guess. Today's Thursday, so Friday we'll do Brett's beans, and I think we'll go from there. But yeah, just hope for some nicer weather so we can get some of the rest of these edibles off. I guess with that, we'll see you in the next video.